Welcome to the Life and Times podcast. Sit back, enjoy the conversation, enjoy the vibes, and thank you for checking us out. Janna, what's happening?
Hey, Adrian. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
All right.
Trying to cool off a little bit.
Okay. All right. Before we get started, I want to know one thing that I need to do this summer here in Atlanta.
You need to go and hang out with your friends at the pool.
Okay.
Be safe. Be around people you're comfortable with. Don't show up empty-handed. If they got the pool, you supply the beer or the snacks, but preferably beer.
That's perfect advice. I know that you did mention that a pool is a safe space, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, speaking of safe spaces, listeners, welcome again to another episode of the Life and Times podcast, which is short for the Life and Times of a Restaurant Lifer podcast. I'm Adrian. You already know it's no BS coming from me. And for episode 11, we are joined by the homie, the talented, the positive, bright ray of sunshine, Chef Janna. What's happening?
Hello, everybody. How are y'all?
You should do the whole podcast like that.
Like, what's wrong with her?
Exactly. Now, tell the people, where can they find you? Where can they find your work and your services, that sort of thing?
So, we'll start from the top where it all started. Shout out Mark Zuckerberg, Facebook. I am Janna Adore Bates on Facebook. On Instagram, I am Janna _can with the K _cook13.
Okay.
And I actually have a YouTube page, Janna Can Cook. But I don't use it. I haven't, I actually have 70 videos uploaded on it, but I haven't uploaded anything in a while. And also, where you can order my catering services or order any meals is 0 to 100 Culinary Services.
Nice.
But I spelled it out a little funky.
Okay. We'll put it on the episode description or whatnot. Whatever you want us to do, we'll definitely have it out there for you.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, of course. We have to do what we always start the episode with, Janna. It's one thing that all of us in hospitality, we are either really good at walking in on it or we develop this skill, and that's drinking alcohol specifically. So, what are you drinking today?
So, today I am drinking water.
Okay, good answer. Okay.
That's what I drink all the time. Hold on, but there's more to this.
Okay.
So, as you can see, this is a lovely styrofoam cup.
Okay.
And when I drink water, it is imperative that it is in a styrofoam cup. Styrofoam is very insulated. It keeps the drink cold. But see, here's a little hack.
Okay.
If you put and you fill the cup up with ice, like at night before you go to bed, when you wake up in the morning, your drink's still cold. Because room temperature water is for suckers.
See, I'm a sucker. I drink room temperature. I've always drank room temperature. Even playing football, when we would have ice cold water, I used to almost die just having that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't drink room temperature water. It's like it doesn't quench my thirst. It does nothing for me. It's like non-alcoholic beer. Like, what are we doing here?
Good point. All right, for me, I am drinking. I don't know if you've had this before, but it's called the Finnish Long Drink.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Perfect drink for the summer. It's hot outside. You want something cool and refreshing. See, I can drink my alcohol ice cold all day, but it's just my H2O that I'm like, if it's room temperature, it's perfect for me. But this, my friends, ice cold. I actually went looking for, they have a peach flavor that I saw, and I was like, I want to see what that's hitting on, but my liquor store didn't have it, so.
So they make Long Day, right? Isn't there a Long Day beer that they have, like one of their like an IPA or something?
I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. I I have zero idea, but I know that I like this one. I know they have a cherry. That's good. They also have a zero sugar one that I normally get. That's a white
Oh,
can and it's delicious. You wouldn't even know that it's zero sugar.
hold on, put that can back up. I thought I had it before. Long drink. I think I've
Yeah.
had it before. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure I've served it at some event or something that I've done.
Yeah, you do tailgates and you've been a part of tailgates. I'm pretty sure you've probably had this before.
Yeah.
But we always want to move into some positivity, some flowers, that sort of thing. So my toast to you, Chef.
Thank
I
you.
I want to give you flowers and say you've always been a bright ray of sunshine. You've no matter what the situation was, it always seemed like you always tried to keep on the positive end, which is good. It's infectious. People want more of that. People need more of that. So, the
Yeah.
kind of flowers and positivity that I want to give to you is based on your positivity and
Thank
your
you.
attitude. And, I see you grinding. I see you hard at work and making opportunities for yourself. You made a
Yeah.
major opportunity last year that I know we're going to talk about briefly. But I want to say salute to you. So,
Thank you.
uh,
I appreciate that.
yeah, for sure. So, cheers to you. Cheers to the listeners. Uh, and thank you all again for listening because this is the Life and Times podcast. I'm Adrian. We're joined by Chef Janna. All right. All right, Janna. Next, we always like to set the table for our guests. We want them to be able to know more about you, what makes you tick, and I have a couple questions for you to help
Okay.
set the table. All right. So, growing up, what was your first perceptions of those who worked in hospitality?
Um, I never had a negative perception on servers and bartenders. Now, a huge reason for this is because of how I grew up. Now,
Okay.
my father owns his own engineering firm. Shout out Coffer Engineering Consultants.
Shout out.
And so we ate out a lot. We ate out at nice restaurants. We ate out at Piccadilly after church.
Okay.
We were also members of Club Corps. So I was having great dining experiences at a young age. So I've always thought of them as people, like be nice, be respectful. My parents were always nice and respectful. My dad is kind of one of those jokesters with servers and stuff like that. But other than that, like they're people. Like they're people, they're making a living. Like this is what you do for a living. And anything that you should do it like with your best ability and put your all into it. Like don't half-ass it.
True. True. What was your favorite thing about Piccadilly? Like, what was your favorite food item?
The apple pie. That was an easy question. Ain't ate at Piccadilly in forever. But if I
Right.
went back today, because there is one, it's like somewhere off of like Old National.
Is it?
There's
I know
still, I
it's
think
one off of. Is it one off of Windy Hill or not Windy Hill? Cop Parkway? Isn't
there
that
might
Cop?
be. I try to
Yeah.
stay off God Parkway. But yeah, Piccadilly was my jam. I haven't eaten there since I was a kid, but that is definitely the thing that I remember the most was the apple pie. It is a must-have.
Okay. My favorite was yeast rolls.
Really? See,
Is that
I'm not a bread
weird?
person at all.
Okay.
I like whenever I go to restaurants and people will be like, "You want cornbread, biscuits, or whatever?" and I'm like, "I don't need any of it.
I'm the complete opposite. I'm like, bring all them shits.
All the breads."
Give me a platter of breads and we good.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mary Max. They hook it up. All right. Next question. Next question. What was your first job in hospitality?
The funny thing is, I was working at this little place. I can't even remember the name of it while I was in college.
Okay.
But my first job that I really remember that had a restaurant structure was Ruby Tuesdays, the one that
Okay.
was right across from Lenox Mall. It was right next to Houston's.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember
That
that.
was my first serving job.
First serving job. Tell me about that.
Um, Man, that was probably my first experience with haters in the workplace. Oh my God! Hold on, but let me tell you, I'm gonna get a little messy right now. So anyway,
Hey,
there
we
was
here
this.
in the pod. Let's get it.
I'm gonna get messy. So there was this gentleman who worked next door, and he
Okay.
was the valet. So he was always outside. So he was constantly between, both restaurants. Asked me out on a date or whatever. He seemed cool. We went out a couple times, and um, I remember he came up to the bar one day to see me after work, came and picked me up. And then, like, the next day, like, there was a couple chicks there acting real, real funny. Anyways, I'm smart. On our first date, I was like, is there anybody who you're talking to or have talked to here? Just
Mm-hmm.
let me know. Like, if it happened before me, I don't care. It's just something I want to be aware of.
Right.
And he was like, no. Turns out he was lying. And so when I find out and all these girls are acting all funny, turns out like he basically stopped talking to this girl to talk to me.
Mm.
Which I mean, now I could actually completely, totally see why. What's the word? Passive aggressively singing these songs aimed at me.
What kind of songs?
I don't even remember, bro. I wish I could remember the songs that they were singing, but they were singing some song about like me being the other chick or me being the side piece or something like that. And I'm like, what is happening
Yeah. So your first job, you were part of workplace drama.
here? Right, exactly. But yeah, and that's also Atlanta in general. But
This
probably
is
all
fact.
restaurants. I don't think it even matters where you at. You could be in damn Brunswick, Georgia, and it's probably still going down.
This is true. This is a fact. This is a fact. All right, last question. Do you feel that everyone should have at least one job in hospitality? And more importantly, why?
I absolutely do. I think it teaches you a lot about patience with people.
Okay.
But more importantly, it teaches you a lot about yourself. I learned a lot about myself working in the restaurant industry. And I also think it teaches you to have a sense of humor about things.
Definitely.
I definitely think I have such a good sense of humor about a lot of things because of all the personalities you're bouncing off of, and not just the people you work with. Me and you both come from Papados that had 150 employees,
Right.
but also just the people that walk in the door. 5,000-6,000 people a week walk in that place.
Right. Right.
So yeah, I think it teaches you a lot about people and yourself and patience, and good toast to you ain't good toast to the next person.
This is a fact. This is a fact. This is a fact. I like that. I like that. All right. We have a few topics we definitely want to hit on today because I am completely honored to have Miss Janna here on the Life and Times podcast. So, the first topic we wanted to talk about this is something that we both have some pretty good experience on,
Okay.
and that's being a restaurant lifer but not working in a restaurant.
Whew.
Okay, so just to give context for those who are listening, okay, there are other jobs in the food industry that don't require you to work in a restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
Those of us who are lucky enough, and I will say you're lucky to even get that kind of opportunity, but those of us who are lucky enough to do that, we face different challenges than the everyday working in a restaurant humdrum business. So,
Mm-hmm.
Jonna, give us background. You've already told us about working at Ruby Tuesdays. We've worked in similar concepts. So I
Mm-hmm.
want to get a little background so we can have an idea, a clear cut idea of your journey in hospitality or your journey working with food. I think this is more appropriate to say your journey
Yeah.
working with food.
So, my journey with food really turned when I met you. So, I don't know if Adrian remembers this, but me and Adrian missed each other at Papados by like a week. Like, literally, I
Yeah,
started and he quit.
yeah,
However, you came in to eat.
yeah.
and I believe I was the server. I almost want to say you were my very first table on my own at Papados.
Really?
I think so. You were definitely. It was definitely my first shift. That I know for sure.
Okay.
So I started out as a server, and sometimes, you get to working at smaller restaurants and you start bartending and different things like that. And I definitely enjoy bartending. You can have a little bit different of a personality because I'm a nice person, but I'm outgoing and I kind of like to say how I feel.
Right.
And you have more of a one-on-one connection with the people when you're bartending.
Definitely.
However, when I was at Papados, they had that program called Late Plate. And so you get to learn how Papados makes everything and how their kitchen operates. And I kind of snuck my way in the kitchen that way. There, I became a kitchen manager. And honestly, it's not very common for people to be kitchen managers coming from the floor before they're floor managers. So I was lucky and blessed for that to happen. But I think that's where I found myself. Because you can cuss in the kitchen as long as you don't have an open kitchen.
Right.
And just the passion for food. Even when I would go back out and do serving shifts, I made way more money.
Yeah.
Being a server, working in the kitchen,
Yep.
than I did just as a server, because there's a certain passion and knowledge when you're talking about the food and being able to relay that and sell your guests that. Because I don't think I'm a salesperson at all, but I can sell you food and alcohol.
Right.
So that's kind of where that kind of took off.
And that's infectious.
Yeah.
That's very infectious to the guest. The guest can tell if you're talking to a guest and you're having you should be having a conversation with your guests, a short, brief one. They can quickly tell, oh, this person knows what they're talking about. I trust them. So that does normally equate to more money for you as the server or waiter or bartender, because when I was waiting tables, that's part of the reason why I was making the money I was, because I was confident in knowing what I was talking about, and I could people could tell that I wasn't just a salesperson, that this was a passion of mine, and that I could actually talk to you and make it sound simple about the kind of intricate preparation something was going through for you to enjoy. So I could see that happen for sure.
So I got my foot in the management door, and Papados has an insane management training program, and then on top of that, the volume that you do. So from there, I went to Taco Mack and made $10,000 more. I think it was more than that. And so I kind of got on the restaurant management train, and one thing about Papados that they teach you, other than all the systems and procedures, is how to see problems before they happen. So forget putting out fires. You want to be like Smokey the Bear and prevent forest fires.
No doubt.
So I think that's where my strength came from. And I got tired of it. And kind of got fed up. And so actually before the pandemic started, I had started my catering business. But I didn't really know how to just get it off and get it out there. And 2020 hits and the pandemic hits. And so actually I got to shout out one of my bosses. So like I said, I started my catering business. However, I was bartending at a department store. So it wasn't even a restaurant. It was in Ponce City Market. Jesus, I can't even think of the name of it right now. Can't even think of the name of it. They actually just reopened too.
Oh, okay.
But they had a bar in it. And so she was quick. Right when we shut down, she started us doing live shows and doing little bar segments. And called it Quarantini. And that kind of inspired me. That inspired me to do. Oh, I do remember my boss's name though, Devin Noblo.
Okay. Shout out.
She's from Wisconsin too, so we connected immediately. And so that inspired me to start doing it. And the thing about the pandemic was, because I never I'm 38, social media, we use it, we created it, but we didn't dive into it like the people a little bit
Right
younger than that.
behind us. You're right. Right.
Right. And so during the pandemic, TV shows are running out because, no more TV's coming on, no more new episodes. And so people had social media. So I took advantage of having everyone's attention
Mm.
and ran with it. And so it really just worked out in my favor. And people know when you're full of shit or when you're serious about something. And
No
it was
doubt.
very evident that I was very serious about it because I was doing cooking shows. I had like 3 cooking shows. I was putting out cooking videos almost every day. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, from April 2020 to January 1st, I did 230 cooking videos. I
Nice.
counted.
Nice.
Yeah. And so from that, just catering opportunities, I didn't need to go back to work. I literally was like between unemployment and getting booked for caterings. I was in a couple magazines, digital magazines. I didn't really need to go back to work. So I didn't until the Falcons called.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay. So tell me about your first video.
Okay, I can tell you. I almost want to say my very first cooking video was a black bean soup that I make, or a black bean chili that I make.
Okay.
And initially, when I started doing videos, I wanted to do things that were probably items you already had in your house, like
Right.
simple, quick, and easy. Like both of my best friends are mothers, so I wanted to do things that were quick and easy. Maybe even stuff that you could do with your family and kids and stuff like that. So that was my initial. So all of my first videos are very simple things like chicken tenders,
Mm-hmm.
chicken tenders and soups and chilies and stuff like that. But then I got bored and
You started
then I got
experimenting.
yeah, then I got bored and started experimenting and really just kind of was just like, well, shit, people are watching. Like, let's give them something to actually, like, look and engage in and be interested in. And then on top of that, like, trying to bring in business and stuff like that. I was
Mm-hmm.
really doing it out of boredom. But
Mm-hmm.
then, once I realized, like, well, people are paying attention. So I needed to start, upping my game up and kind of start doing some different stuff. So
Hmm.
that's kind of how it all started for me. It happened out of nowhere, but it was a blessing. I mean, shout out to COVID-19 for real.
COVID changed a lot of lives. A
Yeah,
lot of fucking lives. Okay. So that was your first experience outside of the restaurant. And I could say for myself, my first job outside of the restaurant industry dealing with food, I got a corporate chef position with a food service company. And I mean, I can admit it to this day. I was super lucky to have met this guy who owned the company. He was in high ranking and he loved me. He just loved the
yeah,
way I talked about food. I cooked for him one time, so he knew that I knew how to cook and I had experience. And he said, "How much are they paying you? I'm going to pay you X amount more," which was drastically
yeah.
more than what they were paying me. So, of course, I was like, yeah, screw
Bye.
working in the restaurant. Exactly. 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 So, I'm making, at this point, I'm making the most money made in
Yeah.
my life or whatnot. Plus, the X factor, the real X factor was this was a Monday
Mm-hmm.
to Friday job. I didn't have to work weekends. In fact, on Fridays, half the office would not show up because it was just like accepted. Like, hey, either you're traveling to do shows, which was
Yeah.
another fun factor for me. I was able to travel to multiple cities and do different food
Yeah.
shows and that sort of thing. But just the whole aspect of not working in a restaurant on the weekend
And
was just
yeah.
the coolest shit ever, you know? And working food shows, and I mean the the most challenging part of the job was the most rewarding, which was I was creating recipes, I was testing out food because I had my own test
Oh,
kitchen and
yeah.
all of that stuff, right? Yeah, I was in, again, the whole money aspect is like, fuck, I'm
Yeah.
making a good amount of money, so rock and roll. So I get fired from that job. because I failed a drug test.
Damn drug test, which is yeah, exactly. Thank
Weed.
God. Yeah, thank God. I
Fucking
already know.
weed.
Which is crazy that they would drug test chefs. Like most restaurant, Pappadeaux's is about the only place that drug tests. Like I was a manager at PF Chang's, didn't
Bro,
drug test. Taco Mac did not drug test me. Falcons didn't drug test
fam,
me.
fam. When they came with a random drug test, and mind you, listeners, and mind you, John, I don't really smoke. I don't
Yeah.
smoke like that. I'm not a smoker. No one knows me as a smoker, but I did smoke like once or twice after leaving the job that I was, or the
Yeah.
management position that I was doing. Got popped on a drug test, and I got fired. And I thought my life was over. I literally thought my life was over because it was just like fuck. How do you ruin
Mm-hmm.
some situation like that? Um, you know, and it's just like fuck, man. You're not gonna immediately make that kind of money back, and you're definitely not gonna have
Yeah.
that kind of schedule back working in the restaurants. But I got back into it, and luckily I got back to the position where I was in, where
Yeah.
I was making that kind of money and being able to at least control a few more things. But I say all that to say, like, my first job working with food outside the restaurant industry was a
Oh
perfect
yeah, that
one. It
sounds
was
like an awesome
fucking
job.
perfect. And I just hate it. Like I know I remember, I can still remember it to the day. I like sat at my condo for like a week in the dark, just like
I'm
fucking
sure.
depressed. Like how how did I drop this ball? Like it was it
Yeah,
was
I did not
crazy.
know
It was
that.
crazy. But
But yeah, so after I'm not working with the Falcons. However, I was there for 2 years, and a big thing I wanted to do was get the clientele. So now I cook for a lot of
okay.
the staff and the players, and hopefully I'll be able to do some of the charity work, the food for the charity work that they do. So I'll be looking forward to doing that. However, I just got done doing a restaurant consult for an opening restaurant. And so I stepped back
Mm,
into a restaurant, and oh my God, I wanted to shoot myself. And then on top of that, what made it worse was it was one of those restaurants that has long ass hours that I'm just like I wasn't with, because that was the thing for the Falcons. We pretty much didn't. It was pretty much Monday through Friday too. Now except training camp. Training camp was pretty much every day for
mm,
about 38 days. But that was it. Other than that, it was Monday through Friday. Only time we worked on Saturdays is if like the schedules with Atlanta United or concerts or something conflicted and we needed to feed them at the
right.
facility versus something else. So yeah,
Mm,
it was you definitely can't take those jobs. Speaking to the people, if you get a job in the restaurant industry and this is an industry that you love and it's Monday through Friday and you ain't got to work late at night, do everything in your power to
that's
hold on
it.
tight. Yeah.
That's it. Keep it.
Hold on tight.
Keep it.
Even if the money is
Keep it.
just decent, keep it. Yeah.
Amen. Because I mean, honestly, because your time is more valuable
Bingo.
than your
It
money,
is.
to be honest. Like, yeah, we don't think about that shit
Old and your
until
knees
we're
start hurting.
older or whatnot. But
And
exactly,
you're missing everybody's birthday and
exactly,
everybody's
exactly.
wedding and you're missing out on all those things. In my early 20s I didn't care, like fuck your birthday. But but now it's just
Right,
like dang, I really
right.
wish I could, be there for certain things. Yeah.
That's a fact. That's a fact. All right, so we're you mentioned that you work for an NFL team,
Mhm.
which is a cool, dope experience.
It
So,
was.
um, like, did you become more of a fan of that team because you were interacting with those players, or
Yeah.
was it like screw you, still screw you, that
Yeah.
sort of thing?
The funny thing is, a lot of people, when you live in Atlanta or when you live in any city that has a professional sport, you should support that team to some degree. or at least just not hate on them.
Mm-hmm.
But the 28-3 thing just really blew a lot of people's high. And then and actually it kind of was before that, because
Nice.
somebody
Okay.
came up to me and was like, because I was turned around or in my own world, lunch was about over,
Mm-hmm.
didn't even know he was there for training camp, and my friend, she just whispered in my ear and she's like, Michael Vick is about to order from you. And my heart just dropped. I was like, oh my God, because
Nice.
I'm not even thinking, especially now that he's not with Atlanta anymore, he's from Virginia. I don't even think I'm
Right.
ever going to meet him. Like, I feel like the
Right.
opportunity passes, so I'm not going to run into him at Houston's or Lenox Mall. Like,
Right.
so
Right.
the fact that I just got to, like, just breathe his air, that was for real. That was a great experience.
That's dope. I mean, he was like a superhero, like a
Yeah.
real life superhero. Like we saw him from the early stages. Like I don't know if you really even rock with college football like that. I know I do, but
Virginia Tech. He's in the
yeah,
ACC, of course.
I was watching him play against Florida State in the national championship game
Yep.
as a freshman, and I'm like, man, who is this kid?
Yeah.
And he just kept leveling up,
Yeah.
and once Atlanta even made the play to get him as the
That's
quarterback,
right,
I was
because they
just like,
traded up for him, didn't they?
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
yep. Because Tim Dwight was a part of that trade, and I did like Tim Dwight, but I was like, yeah, he can kick rocks
Yeah.
to San Diego
He sounds
for
like we don't
Mike
need
Vick. Absolute,
a guy named Tim. No.
yeah. He was like your height, and he ran track though. He was a white boy who could run track. He was good.
Oh,
Yeah, I mean, he was nice.
I don't
He was
remember him.
nice. Yeah. I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, and Falcons fans don't kill me for this, when the Falcons went to the Super Bowl, I want to say Tim Dwight was the one who scored a touchdown. He was like the one player that scored a touchdown.
Really?
I could be mistaken. But I want to say he was a rookie that year, and he scored like either a kickoff return or a punt return touchdown. And besides that, it was like a wrap. Like Denver just sewed them all the way up.
Oh man, no, I don't. I don't remember that name really at all.
Okay.
Doesn't
Yeah,
ring a
Tim
bell.
Dwight.
Tim
Yeah,
Dwight.
shout out
Shout out
Tim
to
Dwight.
Tim.
Yeah,
Cheers.
shout out to. Now, speaking of the Broncos winning the Super Bowl, the team that they beat before they played the Falcons. And mind you, I'm saying this because I always loved John Elway. So,
Yeah.
The team that they beat before they beat the Falcons, the season before, was your favorite team.
It was.
The team that you're repping right now. We see it on your shirt. Those
Packers.
Green Bay Packers.
Packers.
So, I see you.
The
I
real
see
G's.
You.
The real G's.
Nah. Let's relax. All right, tell me what got you into the Packers?
So people always ask me this because they don't think that black people are from Wisconsin, but I am from Wisconsin. So, yes, there is a lovely population of melanated people in Milwaukee. Now, once you start venturing past the metro, Milwaukee
we're all in
area,
Milwaukee.
Yeah,
everybody's in Milwaukee.
Yeah, the only black people outside of Milwaukee are the people who play for the Packers. That's it.
That's a fact.
It. That's all.
That's a fact.
But yes, I am a cheesehead, and the funny thing about it is, because now my dad is from Kansas City. He's a Chief,
and that's why I wanted to ask you, because I do remember seeing pictures where I want to say Kansas City played Green Bay, and you guys went to Lambeau.
We did.
And you both represented your teams or whatever. And I was just like, how the hell is Janna even a Green Bay fan? Like, I didn't know you were from Wisconsin.
Yes. So my dad is from Kansas City. And actually, let me rephrase that. He's raised in Kansas City. So he is a Chiefs fan. And the company that he was working for at the time transferred him to Milwaukee. And he met my mama in the Lord's house. They got married, and so I was born in Wisconsin. The funny thing is, I didn't live there very long because that same company transferred him here to Atlanta, and then he quit a couple years later and started his own business.
Okay.
But it just like so once I started to get older and started to enjoy football, I'm about 12 years old, and we
Okay.
had my boy Brett Favre, and that
Okay.
was when the Packers and Broncos were always like head and head. So yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely remember Shannon Sharp was on that team.
Mm-hmm.
Terrell Davis was on that team.
Rod Smith.
I can even name the people on that team. So yeah.
Right. Right.
But yeah, my boy
Rod
Brett Favre.
Smith and Ed McCaffrey.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, much respect to that organization. I ain't got no beef with them. But when you have such an exciting quarterback like Brett Favre, it's like it doesn't even make sense to not be a part of that.
Okay.
One thing
I
about
feel
Brett
that.
Favre is he was great at everything, even interceptions. He's literally the greatest of all time at interceptions. So I mean, like, what else? What is there to say?
I feel that. I mean, speaking now, fuck Brett Favre.
Oh,
But
I know why you're saying that.
as a player, cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
he was the man. He was a beast
right.
and all that. But as a human being, fuck that guy. But
Yeah,
respectfully,
I give you that.
The problem that I have with this situation, you got to be a sorry mofo to steal from the lowest of the low. Skip, Mississippi is the poorest state in our country.
It is.
Its citizens. So if they're the poorest state, Brett Favre is taken from the underserved. You made $100+ million in the NFL. And they're talking about what he didn't know. This is what Brett Favre texted. If you were to pay me, is there any way the media can find out?
serving me right.
yeah,
But now this is his first year outside of Green Bay.
yeah.
I want to know, you're a Green Bay fan. What are your feelings about Aaron Rodgers not being your starting quarterback this season?
I will be at the Jets versus the Falcons game on December 5th. But here's the thing. So this is a little thing, and this is to get some Atlanta Falcons season ticket sales. My father has season tickets to the Falcons, and if you are a season ticket holder, they give free tickets to away games. So
Really?
I looked at they started doing it last season because I was about to ask my dad. I don't even remember how the conversation. Oh no! I was about to ask somebody at work. Like, we're not supposed to do this. I was going to ask somebody at work for the tickets, and I'm watching TV, and there's an ad about Atlanta Falcons season tickets, and I'm like, what? Free away game tickets now. For more popular games, like for the Saints, it is like they're only giving away so many tickets, but only so many people travel anyways.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, we were going to the Baltimore game, but then freaking Southwest Airlines just completely collapsed. So we didn't get to go to that game. But yeah, I went to the Saints game. So people will be wondering, like, oh, well, are you traveling with the team? Like, no, I have season tickets, so we can get away tickets.
That's fine.
So yeah, that is definitely a plus.
Okay. All right, so back to Aaron Rodgers, though. Because I know I sent you this question prior to, because I wanted to get a reaction from you. But my question, Janna, is Aaron Rodgers overrated?
No. When you look at the statistics, he's statistically, like if you literally look at the numbers, Aaron Rodgers is the most accurate quarterback of all time. His percentage of completions versus incomplete passes is like 0.1% or something crazy. It's like 1.9%. So literally when it comes down to the numbers of can I get the ball in my people's hands, he's the best that ever did it. It's frustrating as hell that so many people want. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger, for God's sakes, and not dissing him, but I mean, he has 3, and he has 2 for sure.
I'm only counting 2.
Maybe he lost 1 and got there and then lost. But I wish he had more rings to show for it. Because I mean, man, it's like
it is 3.
The NFC Championship. I don't know.
I want to say it was 2, but I can check.
It kills me that he doesn't have more rings. Because I mean, like, San Francisco, Jesus Christ, has just taken us out of the count every time. And the thing about it is, it actually has nothing to do with either teams. It has to do with Kyle Shanahan and Matt LaFleur. Kyle Shanahan knows exactly what is going on in Matt LaFleur's mind. And literally the team is just, the Packers are getting out coached by San Francisco. So, they worked together. I want to say they worked together at a college team. They definitely were together at the Falcons. Yeah, we're getting out coached because I'm tired. It's been heartbreaking. Like literally, 3 seasons in a row we got knocked out in the NFC Championship. I mean, had first round buys and everything, and I'm just like, what's going on here?
Yeah. You've always had the team that was like, it would be smart money to put on Green Bay to win the championship. But then once the postseason comes, something stupid happens. And, So I'm taking it you are cheering for Aaron Rodgers going into next season.
I'm just going to the game. And I love him.
Okay.
I love what he did for my team. He put respect on the Packers. He was always a great guy. People love to call him an asshole, but it's just like that's just who he is. He got out there, he won games when we literally thought most teams would not have won when it was down to the wire. I'm still gonna be a Packers fan. But here's the thing, because again, we're going back to reality and statistically. Name another NFL team that has had 2 back-to-back great quarterbacks.
Back-to-back great quarter. Can you say the Colts? Because would you say Andrew Luck was a great quarterback? I think he was good, but he was great is probably
and
of
then
a
he just
reach.
Quit. He's like, I want to go to Puerto Rico. I'm gonna quit. Right.
Hey, I feel him.
Yeah, I actually gotta feel him too. But that does not happen, to having 2 great back-to-back quarterbacks. So the likelihood of us having a third one is like not likely. So I have nothing but hope and prayers. I'm sending thoughts and prayers to the Packers. But,
thoughts and prayers.
I don't see it happening. I mean, we got to worry about the Vikings, but I ain't worried about the Bears. Bears schmears, and don't need to worry about Detroit.
I don't know, man. I want to see. I'm pulling for the Bears just mainly because of Justin. Right. Yeah, I'm pulling for Justin. But yeah, I do feel you. Like, I mean, Detroit looks like they're on the come up, but I kind of think they're fool's gold. Just being honest, like I don't think they're. I mean, it's Jared Goff. Like, are we really depending the state of our franchise on Jared Goff? That's my reasoning.
And I mean, when you have a name like Jared Goff, how do you not play golf?
That's a bar.
Yeah, it's just like, come on, bro, you're in the wrong sport.
Right.
Like it's somewhere in his DNA. I guarantee you, if he did a 23andMe DNA test, there is some professional golfer in his DNA lineage. Gotta be.
All right, so obviously, folks, we could talk football all day with this wonderful chef, and we're going to have to do that one day. But we got to keep it moving in for the sake of time. So I have a question for you from last week's guest. And, of course, after you answer it, you have to ask your question for next week's guest. So are you ready for the question?
Yeah.
Okay, so kind of a current event. I try not to do this just because of timing and all, but with the whole issue of the submarine, the billionaires in the submarine, we all know the backstory. They paid $250,000 to go see their ancestors and unfortunately got to meet their ancestors and stay with their ancestors, right? So, that situation happened, but during the same time, listeners, I don't know if you know this, but there were 2 instances of immigrant boats from the coast sides of different countries that had too many people on it, and it it went underwater, and a lot of people died. Both situations, obviously, for the sake of the families and all of that stuff, governments have to go search for bodies and spend money, government money.
Yeah.
Which is taxpayer money. So my question to you from last week's guest, listeners, be sure to check out that episode with Lois. It was pretty cool. Her question to you, Janna, is would you feel better? Which situation would you feel better as a taxpayer to help contribute to?
Well, I need to first start out with my conspiracy theory. Them people not dead anyways.
You
Submarine people.
Okay.
I definitely think that people need to, until they start recovering bodies, which I think they did say that human remains were found, but they still haven't said. Well, I also don't really watch the news like that.
Okay.
But I do keep news in my timelines on Facebook and on CNN, so I feel like I would have seen it. Yeah, and I kind of believe that it was a setup. They got that insurance money went to their families. They had accounts in Cayman Islands. So that's my little conspiracy theory for y'all.
Okay.
Now that boat had I think they said it was about 500 people on the boat.
Right.
And 150.
One of them. It was two.
See, I didn't hear about
two different boats.
One.
It was exactly, and that was part of the reason why we even had that conversation. But the media only really focused on the billionaires, whereas the immigrants, they pretty much got ignored.
Yeah. And I think that more effort should have been. And then there was a story saying that part of the reason was the National Guard in the first place, that they missed some kind of point check or whatever.
Missed.
But, yeah, definitely, because here's the thing. Those people were trying to get away and better their lives and move themselves and their family to a safer place and a better life.
Right.
And these 5 people signed a waiver and decided to go to dangerous, unhumanly livable depths for fun. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So the money definitely should have been spent in that way. And this person never came out and said that they did it, but some ultra rich person sent his yacht out to go get 300 of them. Yeah, that's a little story that nobody heard. Yeah, somebody knew what was going on, and he was like, I got a mega yacht and I ain't using it right now, and went to go pick up some of the other survivors from the one crash that we all know about. So I didn't know about this second one, so shame on the media for whatever. I guess they didn't want to hurt, I don't know, outside deep diving. And then here's another thing, because it was a slap in the face. They go and get James Cameron because he did 33 under deep sea diving expeditions for research. So you mean to tell me James Cameron survived 33 dives and these people died on their first go round? Nah, son. Them people alive. Them people is alive.
I feel that. Okay, so what's your question for next week's guest?
Okay.
Make it a good one because you know him.
Oh. Is he light skin or dark skin? Now, actually, because I brought this up in a Facebook group that I'm with, should we have stuck to the separation of church and state? And would our country be in a better place had we stuck to the separation of church and state?
Okay. I like that question. I'm interested to see what he has to say about that. Okay. Yeah. All right. Another contribution to the podcast. You have to give us 2 songs to our Life and Times playlist. So listeners, check us out. We're exclusively on Spotify. It is look it up, the Life and Times playlist. It's a curation of vibes moods, all that good stuff from the host, Adrian, and our weekly guests. So this week we have Janna. What two songs are you adding to the playlist?
All right. So my first song, it's on the second to last reel I did, is Kendrick Lamar's Rich Spirit.
Okay.
Love that song. I don't even, it might have came out a long time ago. I don't know if it's new or old or kind of
But you
old.
like it.
But I love it. It's vibing.
Okay.
And then this is like, for some odd reason, it's like my lifelong theme song. It's constantly in my head, and it's Return of the Mack by Mark Morrison.
That's a classic.
Exactly.
That's definitely a classic. So
those are my two songs.
Okay, I like those. All right, my two songs for the people is from Danger Mouse, MF Doom, and Sparkle Horse. The name of the song is Ninjarous. I said niggerish because that's what it is, but it's Ninjarous.
Okay.
All right. Second song is by N.E.R.D, and that's Love Bomb. Perfect song for the summer, perfect mood, and I just have vivid nostalgia listening to that album because that was during the time where we were kicking it like that. But yeah. All right, so we've reached the end of the podcast. How do you feel?
I feel great. I feel honored that you allowed me and had faith in me to be a part of this. I always love seeing your face. You've always been a cool person to me, literally from day one in my little beginner stages and my little bow tie. So I appreciate you. I appreciate just our relationship. We don't see each other all the time, but I know when you've moved on to other places, I'll be like, yo, Adrian, where you at? Let me pull up.
Right.
So we've always kept in touch and supported each other through the years, and I hope that this relationship continues. Definitely. And it was a pleasure meeting your wife during the pandemic. I actually met her a couple times.
Yeah.
She's an inspiration to me and my new natural hair that I'm doing. So shout out to her for that. Natural. Black Girl Magic. Okay. Yes.
No doubt.
So yes, it was an honor and a pleasure, and I appreciate it.
Definitely. So once again, John, let the people know where they can find you.
Okay. So, Facebook, Janna Adore Bates. Instagram, Janna_can with a K _ cook13. And my website where you can order all my delicious treats or my services is 0 to 100 Culinary Services. Actually, 0 to 100 CS at squareup.com.
Nice. Okay. Cool. All right. And listeners, obviously, make sure you follow the brand at Suplex Dinner Club. That is home of hopefully your two favorite podcasts. On Mondays, we talk college football on Dogs versus All Y'all, where we don't just talk about the two-time defending national champion Georgia Bulldogs. We talk about all things college football, hence All Y'all. And, of course, Wednesdays, y'all know the vibes, is good conversations with some really cool people in hospitality with the Life and Times podcast. So thank you again for spending some time with us. We really appreciate it. Peace and blessings. Enjoy your days. Take care of each other. And we will see you next week. Peace.
Hold up. You know what it is. Yeah. Now listen. That's called my boy. You know nothing about that. Put him on the camera. Facts.